back to the bank because they didn't know how to buy them correctly. So commercial real estate in the San Francisco Bay Area is going to have some wonderful opportunities for people. It's all about timing. Okay, I've given you a lot. I've given you my newsletter. You can look at it. I've given you all kinds of stuff to help. Before I leave, I will give Tom all this stuff about 0952 because I guarantee you every lender you're going to talk to today says that woman is crazy. Well, I am, but I do know about 0952 because I'm going to give you it from HUD. Now, then HUD's crazy. Okay? Good. Any questions? I'll answer. Thank you.
What do you think about high-tech industry here in Silicon Valley? Do you see a lot of it leaving the area, or do you think people will always want to be here? You think it will always be the hub of the high-tech industry?
Well, when we talk about the high-tech industry, we have to talk about California, which is as dysfunctional in Sacramento as Washington. You know, I think we survive in spite of our government. I think that's how you have to begin to look at it. I think it's the way it is. I mean, I know everybody wants to go in now. I can't imagine running for governor. I can't imagine anyone would spend 5 cents of their own money or even want to be anybody in politics, because I don't think you can fix it. I think you get there. I think you have very good intentions. I think you may even be very talented. But I think the minute you get there, they put you on your hands and knees, and I mean, it's just too much unions, too many pensions. They retire at 50, and they have 90% of their salary. I mean, it's all wrong. I mean, you got to bring the whole thing down. So one, we have that problem. So I think California will survive in spite of that. You know that. We will survive in spite of that. We are the 22nd largest economy if we were a world power, all right? We do $1.8 trillion in goods and services, $487 billion just in the San Francisco Bay Area. Number two is, everybody has talked about the demise of Silicon Valley forever. We obviously take our hits when the economies go bad and we have recessions, but I have a theory about Silicon Valley. You can't replace it. I don't think. I think you can replace part of it. I think you can send manufacturing someplace. I think you can do certain things with it. But I think in its totality, we only think of Silicon Valley in certain ways, but you can't think of it that way. You have to think of Silicon Valley as this basically bubbling hubble of basically an environment surrounded by what? First of all, you have an international city called San Francisco. You go to Asia, you go to Europe, you go to Africa, you go to South America, you say San Francisco, people know what you're talking about. They know San Francisco. So it is not a regular city, it is an international city. The second thing is you say Stanford, you say the University of California, people know those institutions. When you talk about Silicon Valley, everybody knows Silicon Valley. So I think when you take all of that, gateway to the Pacific Rim, the fact that you have basically an entrepreneurial environment where the best minds want to be, because we have people who clamor to stay here. I mean, obviously, we know it's more expensive. You can go live in Texas. You can go live someplace else. I have a daughter that her husband comes from Indianapolis, and the mother-in-law back there keeps saying for $465,000, they can have a $3 million house of what it costs here. But my daughter keeps saying, but then I'd have to live there. That's the problem. So, and she doesn't get it because, of course, she lives there. But, my daughter doesn't want to go live there. So I think that when you say that, yes, I think we go through ups and downs. We usually go down further when we go down faster, but we come back quicker. I think it's very hard to take Silicon Valley. It took 50 years to get it where it is. I think you can replicate part of it, and I think it makes sense to take parts of it and put it someplace else. But I think to say, let's take an Apple. How do you take a company like that, with the people that are there, with the leadership and management that's there, with the creativity, the entrepreneurship, even though they're working around all the rules, regulations, and taxes, and say, oh great, let's just move it someplace else and it'll be the same Apple? No, it won't. I don't think it will be. I think it's the uniqueness of this valley. It's the entrepreneurship, it's the energy of the people, it's the creativity, it's the intelligence level, it's the dynamics, it's the funding from Sand Hill Road, it's basically the first-time angels, the second-tier